On Texas football here, Plantation, Florida, American Heritage High, to talk to Dia Bell, five-star quarterback commit for the Texas Longhorns in 2026. Dia, let's first talk about your season. Headed into the playoffs, you're coming off a big personal performance against St. Thomas Aquinas. They had a big win, 42-38. Kind of talk about your junior year, where you've improved, just kind of your general thoughts right now.
I say that I definitely stepped up in my leadership role, being the quarterback of this team, the leader of this team, along with a couple other guys. And then my play as well, I played more freely this year. The game's kind of slowed down for me now. It's being my second year starting. So I feel like I've kind of stepped up in both those realms, taking control of the offense in general. So this season's been going by well. Not as planned, obviously, throughout the season, but had most of our adversity early on, so it sets us up more for the playoffs.
I was going to say, though, y'all have played about as tough a schedules as anybody in America. And quarterbacks that play under duress in high school, that helps them quite a bit, right? Instead of just clean pockets 99% of the time being able to throw the first read. How do you think this schedule's helped you?
Oh, it's helped a lot. I mean, we talked about it before the season even started. We like to say that we played the SEC of high school football this year, playing teams like Milton, Miami Central, Miami Norland, St. Thomas, obviously this past week, Chaminade Madonna, and a bunch of others. But that's only set me up for my future and the future of this school and throughout this entire playoffs. But it definitely helps as it pertains to moving on to the next level in college ball, playing teams like this in high school. So I'm kind of already up to speed with the speed of the game.
If we turned on your tape from this year, what is it you think you've done really well? What's a couple areas or an area you think you can improve on?
I feel like I've definitely made teams respect my legs more.
True.
I mean, which keeps an extra guy in the box sometimes. It allows us to do what we want in the passing game. And I'd say something I could probably work on is just, obviously little things, just making sure that I'm going through my progressions as it needs to be and not rushing through it sometimes. Sometimes I'll catch myself trying to rush through it and get to the read faster than it's supposed to be, and then it's not open because I'm there too quick. But besides that, I felt pretty good with what I've been doing this year.
So playing under duress, and now you're second year starting. When you play under duress, do you feel like everything's moving slow around you at times? Is that because maybe last year was it moving faster in your peripheral?
No, for sure. This year, I've had 12 years under my belt from last year going into this year, and then this year now we played 9 more games too. Yeah. So the game has definitely slowed down a lot more. Not as rushed to make certain decisions as I was as a first year starter, because I know I have a little bit more time than I thought I might have, and I know that I put on a lot more muscle and weight during the off season, so I'll be able to endure some hits if I have to back there and still make the throws. But yeah, the game's definitely slowed down.
What is you talk to Coach AJ Milwee how often?
Every week.
What are those conversations like? Take me through, not the whole conversation, but what do you guys talk about on a weekly basis?
Really catching up with each other and just seeing. Obviously, he'll ask me what we got going on and what our game plan is for our week coming ahead, and then I'll obviously ask back what's going on up there, and then I'll get a rundown of what's happening up in Austin. But besides that, it's really just catching up and just talking football. Yeah,
and you were on campus for the Georgia game. Just the atmosphere. Obviously, the game didn't go how Texas wanted, but the atmosphere, just being around there. Kind of, what were your thoughts being there for a game this year?
It was great. Being there with my dad, my younger brother, and my 2 quarterback coaches. The atmosphere is. I had never been, so first time was definitely a show, to say the least. And the longer I was there, the more I wanted to be there earlier. So, but obviously I'll be there in 2 years, and I'm just excited for it.
For those that don't know, you are a December graduate in 26, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. By the way, can your brother beat you in hoops yet, or you still got him?
No, if I'm not allowed to post him up, he'll definitely.
Okay, he's got to keep you out of the post.
Yeah.
Then. Okay, I get that. Did you get a chance to talk to Coach Sark at all when you were there?
Yeah.
Okay.
A brief talk after the game. Obviously, we talked about what was going on during the game a little bit, and then just catching up and talking to each other a little bit before we had to move on to obviously a bunch of other guys around. But it was great seeing him again and great being able to talk to him again.
What are your thoughts on Texas this year, watching the offense play, kind of knowing the conversations you have with Coach Milwee?
It's great. I mean, I've been watching it for forever now. So obviously going and watching it in person only helped it out. I mean, I love their offense. I love how pro style and pro ready it is. And Coach Sark does a lot of different unique things out of pistol formation and gun formation that most NFL teams do under center. But I mean, it's obviously all the same stuff, and it's just getting you more pro ready for when you get there.
When I was here in the spring, people asked me I work with them. Wait, what do you think about Dia in college? I said, I think Texas is a real sleeper in that recruitment. When did you actually lock in with Texas?
I wanted to say it was probably a week or two after I visited for the camp.
The June camp? Yep.
Yeah, the June camp and I was still going through my other visits at that time, but I really just felt like Texas was the place after. Obviously, I brought my mom up there to see it as well. So, I mean, after that, it was kind of like it just felt like home.
And, now thinking back for the Texas fans that maybe didn't see, your quotes after you committed to Texas, why was it Texas at the end of the day?
The atmosphere, the people around the program, and obviously the culture and everything they have behind Texas football up there just felt like it was for me. So that's kind of why I chose.
Yeah. And then do you have plans to get back anytime soon? Do you know when?
I was hopefully trying to get back for the Florida game.
Okay.
That's my brother's birthday. We're going to try and bring him back out again and see that game. But if time allows with football here.
Depending on your
that's kind of what I was looking forward to. And then obviously in the summer at some point we'll come back.
Yeah. And talk about also, you play on a high school team that's one of the fastest 4x1s in the country. And like 3 of those guys are receivers for you, right?
Yeah.
Talk about how that's helped you too, because a lot of guys, the high school quarterbacks, don't play with that type of speed. So you're playing with guys who are Texas, SEC level speed right now. Talk about how that helps you.
I mean, me and Coach Millie have talked about that before. I mean, the more I'm able to throw to those guys and have those guys around me, the more prepared I am for what life in Texas would be like with those kind of receivers, because they recruit speed now. So I gotta be able to adjust to different types of speeds and make sure I get that ball out on time, because if you don't, they're gonna be out running it. So, but we definitely talked about that before, and having these guys around me here just only helps me in the long run.
You're one of the rare guys, because in the state of Florida, you can now have NIL deals as a high school player. Talk about how kind of that whole, not the what and the how much or anything like that, but just the process of it for you, man, because this is how things have changed. And does it ever overwhelm you? I mean, did you ever feel like, man, that's a little more pressure? I mean, kind of, what was your reaction to all of it?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's too much pressure. I mean, my dad knows the landscape pretty well, being that he played in the NBA and has his kind of own feel around it.
Yep.
And he was able to help me find an agent pretty early. But I mean, for me, my job is to play the best that I can, and everything kind of falls in place according to that. So my job was to make sure that I played the best season, had the best season possible, and hopefully finish it out how I want to. So that's kind of it.
What are the most important aspects to being a high-level quarterback, you think?
Obviously, as a quarterback, you gotta be able to make the throws. That's one thing. But I just feel like your leadership and the way you're able to connect with your teammates around you and be able to be on the same page and have different connections with each one of your individuals on your offense is great, because everybody doesn't get coached the same. Everybody doesn't have the same sort of attitude. Some guys you got to rip into. Some guys you just got to reassure them like, hey, next play. So just having relations like that with everybody on your team is something big for being a quarterback.
Yeah. So your big brother, you have a little brother coming up, so going to be a really good basketball player. What wisdom do you impart on him? Do you try to help him, or are you still more competitive?
I try. We're very competitive. I mean, we've always grown up a year and a half younger than me, so we've always grown up playing the same sports, same teams, playing against each other in the backyard all the time. So I definitely try and give him something, but we're around each other so much that I feel like he could definitely take away stuff from me, and I can still take away stuff from him. I mean, he's playing a whole other sport, but sometimes for me, I was too relaxed and laid back, and I got to get a little bit more like him. He's more energetic. and sometimes he's got to take away the calmness from me and just being able to stay level-headed throughout everything that's going on. So I definitely feel like I've taught him a couple of things, but I have a lot more growing to do myself. So
what again, y'all played a unbelievable schedule. Was there one team or a couple of players you went up against, so you're like, okay, those guys are even better than everybody else on this schedule? Mm-hmm. Anybody you want to give a compliment to?
I would give a compliment to the Milton entirety of it as a team.
Same.
They have a very veteran group of guys they have over there. A lot of them are 2025 class. A lot of them are going to play high Division I football. And having them week one as a test definitely set me up personally for the rest of the season. It kind of gave me a wake up call. I was like, yeah, this is what we're doing this year. We gotta step up, make big plays when big plays are needed, and we got to learn from it. So I'd definitely give a shout out to that Milton squad.
So part of being a quarterback in a recruiting class is kind of being a leader of a recruiting class. Are there any guys you stay in contact with that maybe Texas is targeting?
There's a whole bunch. Name a few. There's guys like Jalen Lott, guys like Zilis Hicks that we kind of got recently. There's a bunch of other guys, a bunch of O-linemen, John Turrentine, who else? Adam Guthrie.
Yeah. You named a few, and they were all at the game the other day, by the way.
I got to meet a lot of them for the first time in person, which was good. And then I got to meet a bunch of older guys that are committed ahead of me, and just other guys that I hadn't talked to before over phone or anything that were at the game. So as time goes on, they'll probably give me more names and stuff like that. And obviously I can't name all of them that they give me because I just not.
That's what I was getting at. Who did you actually spend time with at that Texas Georgia game? Who did you chat up with? Because they were all there.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with KJ. I got to talk to everybody. Guys like Javion Osborne, Jalen, of course, a bunch of linemen. I just made sure I made my rounds and met everybody that I wanted to meet. But I spent a lot of my time with KJ Lacey.
What's the plan after the season? How quickly will you get into quarterback specific training? I know you're still in the season, but have you started setting out that plan yet?
Honestly, no. I go to my quarterback coach every week on Sundays just to talk over the games and kind of get the soreness out of my body just to get moving again. But I kind of haven't set that out yet. Obviously, I'll probably still play a little bit of basketball when the season's over. So.
Are you going to play for the squad team again?
I think I'll play again.
I got another reason to come down here again. I like it. That's good. That's very good. I like that. Watching your little brother play. I guess, what have you learned about yourself this year? Maybe that you didn't know or you weren't expecting.
I learned a lot. One thing I'd say is that I've been very mature under pressure situations, which was a testament to being under fire throughout my entire first year starting. So I didn't think I'd be able to cope with it as well as I have been, and I'm glad that I have been able to. And so I just kind of been building off of that, and obviously for playoff purposes and then hopefully state purposes, I'll be able to hold on to that and grow with it as well.
When you're at home chilling with dad and your brother, do y'all watch more hoops or football? Football. Yeah, really?
Football. I personally don't like watching basketball because it makes me mad that I don't play it as much anymore. Okay. But I'd say we're a very football and basketball family. But obviously when we're in football season, it's a lot of football watching. So we watch it together and talk about it.
I think I asked you this before, but favorite quarterback, who is that?
Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes. Mm-hmm. You have a favorite NBA player?
LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. And I guess in closing, goals, I guess, for the team's pretty obvious for you guys, right? But what are some goals you still have in front of you that maybe you set before the season?
Set before the season, I feel, statistically for me, I wanted to get to 3,000 passing yards. That's kind of the only thing. I've kind of got to the record point at the school now, so I'm trying to break a couple of those still. But obviously, as a team, we still want to win that state championship. But for me, there's not a lot left. I didn't think it would come up like this, but it's always a dream to be Gatorade Player of the Year, and I got a little bit of a candidate for that now, so I'm really excited about that. But besides that, it's not a lot left.
All right, that is 2026 5-star quarterback Diabell.